9, 8.
You're watching Experience Comic Culture and Sales. Streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
2.
Hey, I am Christopher, a.k.a. the Bronze Age Nerd, and I am joined by...
Baby McFly, the comic guy, with weird color.
Do we have an action-packed show for you guys tonight? I couldn't be more excited to be here. Every time it was a show starting up and we got the music playing, Bigby and I are rocking out behind the scenes. We're just ready to go. Cannot wait to talk to you about some interesting stuff tonight. We have, honestly, I'm just going to say this up front before we even say hello to everybody. I do want to point out that several of the topics in the show I think are a little bit more controversial than we normally dive into. And just want to remind everybody that we are trying to approach this from an even perspective. We're trying to be positive where we can and hopefully put a positive spin on things, even though things might be negative. But my whole day, I've been dealing with negativity in the comic book community, coming through DMs and people that are having, bad times and hurt feelings and stuff like that. So we do want to keep everything positive. We do have some great community artwork. We have some awesome Heroes for Heroes updates, that kind of stuff. But just kind of a fair warning, there's going to be some topics in this show that might be a little controversial in terms of the comic book drama. And, we're not here to tackle that just because it's comic book drama, but it'll come up. That said, before we say hi to everybody, Bigby, I got to know how you doing, man.
I'm good.
You're doing good? Oh, no. Jay and I were just talking about that backstage. We were wondering if it was a super long day or not.
Yeah, it's a long day and just, technical difficulties at the last second.
Yeah, Bigby's camera might look a little different than it has the last couple of weeks, everybody, but his computer reset some settings before he had to come on the stage. So apologies for that.
Yeah.
I have to apologize to him because it's my old camera I gave him. So
I don't know what happened. It was just like I'm like, that doesn't look right. I'm like, okay,
yeah.
bro.
Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. We got GT Key Comic in there. Always first. The day that GT Key Comic isn't first, I'm really going to have to wonder about what's going on. It'll be a dark day. Richard, hey, what's up, Richard? Yeah, he be, man. You got to get in there early. Like as soon as you see the show get scheduled, I mean, hopefully you all have the notification bells turned on and you're subscribed, not only on my channel, Bronze Age Nerd, but also on Bigby McFly, the Comic Book Guys channel, and also over on the EXP. By the way, all those links are in the description below, so there's every reason why you should go do that. And then you click the bell, and then you see the shows get scheduled, and you go make that comment. That's my recommendation. You can finally beat GT Key Comic, and we can have that day where hell freezes over. Renegade Rants, what's up? Thanks for being here. John Stout. Hey, John Stout. I made a post today about Heroes for Heroes with John Stout with one of the awesome Frank Miller signed books he donated for Heroes for Heroes. It's one of the Dark Knight books with a Wonder Woman cover on it. If you like Frank Miller signatures and you want to get a chance to win one, make sure you stay tuned for the Heroes for Heroes Mission 22 auction that we have coming up in November and all the details about that. What is up, Space Case Cards? How's it going? Michael, pleasure to see you. Hello to you too. And then, yeah, GT is like a professional first person. And my favorite thing is he doesn't say first. That's one of my least favorite things, but he goes in with the classy emoji. And what is up, Meadowland Swamp Thing? Talking about the latest in the variant cover scheme scams. Kind of a little bit. Yeah, a little bit of that, but there's actually, I'd say that some of the drama stuff is actually at a different topic, believe it or not. And again, it's one of those things where I don't celebrate comic book drama. I do want to talk about the news of it, because I do think there is some newsworthy stuff attached to it for sure. Unfortunately, it involves some stuff that I know some people will view that way. Hey, what's up, Ozzy? Always a pleasure to have you here. Love having you hang out in the chat. You bring up some great insights. And Dr. Plagueis, the man, the myth, the legend from Rose City Comic Con that everybody was me, and all kind of other places too, of course. But everybody was constantly like, "Oh, you're the sticker guy." That was awesome. Cool. So I guess we are done saying hello to everybody in the chat. So now we can do our traditional Heroes for Heroes opening update. Just for everybody that wasn't here last week, for your kind of refresher, I'm not doing any super like chat giveaways or any of that kind of stuff until I can get caught up on the ones that need to go out, and maybe until Heroes for Heroes. We'll see. I might squeak one or two in there. Yeah, Dr. Plagueis is the sticker guy. He's the one that started it all. Not to be confused with actually somebody called the sticker guy. Oh, we got a big echo coming through.
Where's that coming from?
I don't know. It's only when I talk. Oh, there it goes. It went. Maybe my mic was too close or something. I don't know. So we want to do that Heroes for Heroes update. So let's check that out. So right now we are at a really nice number, considering we're still 74 days away from our main event fundraiser on Veterans Day, or at least that weekend. We're at $525. We're already 7% of the way to a goal, to our goal, which is awesome. That is so fantastic. I do have something to share with you, or rather somebody else has something to share with you real fast. So I actually, I don't think it needs too much introduction. You'll see it for yourself, but here's a quick little video about Heroes for Heroes that I want you to check out. It's a real short video. I'll see you here in a few seconds. Okay.
Hey friends, this is Stephanie Chakowski from Doom Patrol and Star Trek Picard, and you are watching Bronze Age Nerd on YouTube. Please help support Mission 22 and our veterans by donating to Heroes for Heroes.
Yeah, so that was really cool. Huge props to Bigby for getting the ball rolling on talking to an actress that you might have seen in Doom Patrol. She played Hammerhead on that show. She's in the latest season of Star Trek Picard. So that you see the Vulcan salute there at the end. But it's awesome to have some celebrity support. She'll be sending in some signed 8x10s too at some point here that we're going to do as part of the auction. Hoping to get a few more of those kind of things that can help with promotional material. But that was really awesome. Great work talking to her at Turficon and getting that ball rolling, Big B.
Thank you. She's super nice. Very, very nice lady.
Yeah. So it's awesome to see her support and help out there. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a good point. Some of the things I usually give away, I feel like, Bigby supplies a lot of the trade paperbacks. I don't know that a lot of them would fetch a lot of money during the auctions, maybe. But if we ran too many of them, it would probably kind of dilute things. But yeah, that's kind of some of the idea. Richard. So that's kind of it really for Heroes for Heroes. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some updates on product that was donated that we'll have up for auction during the big event, like what John donated. He's at another item. I have 2 packages I need to open that came in from other support members. I've got a bunch of prints you'll be seeing and some like signs that Greg Rucka donated. I showed those off last time, but you'll see those social media posts going up. If you want to help in a way that costs no money, like, comment, and share those posts. Follow the official Heroes for Heroes Comics IG page. And those are all ways that can really help out, and we'd appreciate it. That's kind of our main updates for this week. So yeah, let's get into our first topic. So unfortunately, not a very positive first topic, and it's something that we Chris mentioned it in chat last week, I think. So we kind of just sort of missed this one. Oops, that was a bad paste. But unfortunately, Karl Moline, the co-creator of Frey and Route 666, he also worked on a lot of other stuff like the Buffy comics, TMNT, BPRD, Supergirl, a lot of stuff listed there that you can check out. Died at the age of 51. And that, it's coming on the heels of last week. It was really rough with James Earl Jones passing away, with John Cassaday passing away. It was just a hard week. And so continues to keep, unfortunately, happening here as we lose another talented comic creator. It's just really, really rough. That's all I can say about it. This link I'm at, you can go check it out to see some quotes from some other industry professionals. and I will paste that into the chat so you can all go read that. But it's sad that we continue to keep losing all these talented people, and all I can really say about it is, positive vibes go out to those that were around him and knew him, and it's just another terrible loss for the community.
I mean, just like bam, just we've been hammered by that kind of news a lot just recently.
Yeah, it's been relentless, and it's one of those things where obviously there's no good time for anything like that, but it is something that is just a sad fact of life. But moving on from that topic, unfortunately not another great thing. This is about a negative interaction that a celebrity had at a convention, and this I think happened a while back too, but it's just something we didn't have a chance to talk about on last week's show with all the other stuff going on. But The Boys firecracker actress Valerie Curry, if you haven't watched the latest season of The Boys, her character is like many characters on The Boys, very, I don't know, polarizing, I guess, or very very strong character, as far as actually a very strong character in general, but a lot of stuff going on with the character. That's the best way I can put it. So she made this post, and she was basically saying what she says here. I know people saw a character that I play do some really extreme things on The Boys, and I don't care if you're in costume. I don't care if you're in character. It's not okay, and it's not funny to demand those things from me in person at my booth, Curry said in the video. Frankly, to the person who did that repeatedly today, I made it pretty clear that it wasn't okay, and that only seemed to make this person and their friend angry. I didn't think this needed to be explained, but I was deeply uncomfortable. It was quite clear I was uncomfortable. Again, I don't know what reaction you were looking for. Nobody was laughing. So if you watch that season of The Boys, you probably can use your imagination to figure out what was being asked of this actress. To me, it goes to, this is the kind of stuff that makes me sad, because it makes comic books and comic book fans, and nerds in general, because it's just a TV show at some point too, look bad. Right. So having just come from a con and talked to a lot of celebrities and creators and all that kind of stuff at their booths, luckily it seemed like most of them were being treated with respect. Hopefully that's the case all the time, but just treat people like people is my advice.
Yeah, I mean, you can't demand anything of anybody. I mean, yeah, it's pretty goofy.
Yeah, especially, I mean, I mean, it doesn't explicitly say that, but it is rather explicit, so that's why I imagine why she didn't say it. Like, I don't even know. I don't even know. Like, what are you expecting that person to do that is going to be friendly for a crowd that's along those lines? It's just ridiculous.
I mean, were they doing the photo op or something maybe, and wanted her to do?
That's what it sounded like to me.
I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, like on a certain level, when somebody is famous for playing a role, like for example, Sergeant Slaughter. A lot of people go meet Sergeant Slaughter and get put in a headlock. That's something he does in a lot of his photo ops, right?
Right. So
I get that to a certain extent, there's like things that you would do in character with somebody that's you're getting that photo op from, but geez. Yeah, exactly. The covert clutch. I'm assuming correct. But yeah, Eggplant, I'm assuming that's what it was about as well. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty interesting, especially when people are talking to, like you're saying, like these types of people, what they expect or what they think they're going to get out of it. Hey, what's up, Steve? Welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. Well, I mean, treat people like people. That I treat them like they want to be treated. Is that's my version of the golden rule. Right. So,
Well, that is the golden rule. Treat others as you would want to be treated, right?
Well, but I always say treat others as they want to be treated, because that's my little twist on it. Just because it's one of those things where it's like it's kind of like applying your own logic to how everybody else feels. Like there's things that I do that I want to treat other people that way because I know they're not going to like it. Yeah, there is kind of a weird like social construct there that you have to kind of navigate a little bit sometimes, where it's like, do I got a photo with Katie Sackhoff last weekend, or not this last weekend, but the previous weekend, and I just was sitting there watching her photo ops with everybody else, and like before me, a couple people before me, a guy was like, "Oh, is it okay if I put my arm around you?" And she was totally fine with it, and everybody was doing it, so I didn't bother asking because I knew it was fine. But that's me paying attention to make sure, is that okay, or is this something where they just want to stand next to you? Like you got to kind of pay attention to those kinds of social cues, right? Like it's just common courtesy, and then I feel like asking is one thing, but when you get a no, move on. Like that's just the respect part.
No, I mean,
What's up,
the whole rabbit hole, but I have a friend who they went and got a photo op, and the specific celebrity copped a feel, and that was the whole thing too. So
the celebrity copped a feel on the fan.
It was a guy and his girlfriend, and the celebrity stood with them, and while he was doing it, he grabbed a big old handful while he was getting the photo op.
Wow.
They didn't know what to do. They're like, what are we supposed to do? So
yeah. No, you're right. Meadowlands, that's true too. That is true.
No, that is true.
It's also true. So that's one of those things. Boy, luckily it's just so many positive things this week. How about we move on to this topic?
Something positive?
No.
How about we move on to this negative thing?
Yeah. It's I'm not saying that's going to be the whole show. There's definitely going to be some positive stuff in here. But we have time to I think discuss one more thing here, which is Stephen Amell. Stephen Amell, who played Oliver Queen, aka the Arrow in CW's The Arrow. Obviously Green Arrow, which always kind of bugged me. They never just finally switched over to Green Arrow, but whatever. That's besides the point. I actually enjoyed a large chunk of the early part of that show, and I watched longer than I probably should have, but I thought it was good. Did you ever watch it, Bigby?
No, I've seen some little outtakes, but I have not watched the show.
Season 1 went pretty hard for a CW show. Hey, what's up, K-pop? How's it going? Yeah, creeps do. Yeah, that's true. they don't change their demeanor very often at a con. So what this comes down to is there was a joke at the end of Peacemaker season 1 where they made fun of Green Arrow, the character in universe. And you might think, okay, well, they made fun of Green Arrow, and then Stephen Amell, I think at the time he made some kind of flippant comment about it. He didn't really say much about it. But he did kind of make this, comment about how the CW, quote unquote, the CW got crapped on for years and years. And that's kind of true. There was a lot of, people celebrated, but there was also some people that looked down on it. So I won't read the quote because I'm trying to keep this PG, speaking of PG. But basically, the other part of what was said in Peacemaker is the titular character, Peacemaker, makes a comment about what Green Arrow does. About he goes to brony conventions and engages in some furry activity, is how I will put it for the show. It is quite explicit.
All right.
So everyone's kind of thinking like, okay, he comes back and you can see in the headline here, F those guys is what he says back to that. He finally commented on this. And he goes on and actually says, gosh, there's another like choice quote in here too, where he talks about he's actually doing real wrestling, showing people what a real wrestler should be doing. And then he talks about, I think something about The Rock too. I can't remember. There's some language in here I don't want to read. Okay. So here's the problem with this. When people kind of like, because Stephen Amell also did some stuff during the SAG-AFTRA strike where he kind of complained about not being able to promote his show, which is about wrestling at the time, because it just came out right when the strike kind of started. And so he couldn't do any promotion. And so it was kind of hurting the show. He made some kind of grousing about that, and people weren't very happy about that because they're like, hey, you're supposed to be standing with your fellow actors and writers, right?
Right.
So he's kind of already in people's crosshairs a little bit because of that stuff. But the thing that what people don't really seem to know is Stephen Amell is a brony. So this wasn't just about Green Arrow. It wasn't just a joke.
Personal jab.
It was a personal jab. And here's where I actually come on Stephen Amell's, I land on his side of it here, because he's a brony because his daughter loves My Little Pony and he takes her to conventions for her. So to like make fun of, like, because it's obviously a personal, when you go so far as to say he's a brony, everyone at that, in that shared universe, because that was technically loosely tied to that universe, they kind of know each other, right? Like, so to say that just seems like, it does seem like a little low blow, and I can't really blame him for having an opinion on that, because it at some point it probably does kind of feel a little bit like a personal below the belt kind of blow there. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good point, Eggplant, but I think he's basically expressing that frustration at, which I think, I don't know if James Gunn wrote that line, but he definitely was in charge of the show. So, and then, John Cena was working very closely hand with him. But yeah, the actual specific writer should probably deserve the bulk of that ire. Right. That's a good question. If it was a Chris Van Villette? Yes, it was Chris Van Villette or Villette. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce that. You're correct. It was from that interview. Who else do we know? Hey, Christina, how's it going? Pleasure to see you here. Did I miss anybody else? Sasquatch believes in Bronson. Thank you, Joshua. We also love talking about Sasquatch. We love doing that with Frank Cho, actually, is somebody we love talking to about that.
Sasquatch.
And then, hey, what's up, Christopher Parker? By the way, I'm a big fan of how you spell your name. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, but if you're doing it for your daughter, man, I mean, come on. I know CJ has a strong affiliation with the furry community and the brony community, so maybe we're touching on sensitive ground for them, but kind of inside joke there. Lords of Brooklyn, hello. So, not a super overly negative thing, but it does involve some actors beefing over some very real stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Well, folks, we are at that point in the show where it's time for our first ad break. As I mentioned at the top of the show, we are streaming over on the EXP as well as Big B's channel and my channel. Please go sub up all those places because we'd love to have you watching along on all of them. But we are streaming over on the EXP, and they are a ad-supported channel over there. So you'll see a couple minutes of ads for different programming and their sponsors. So we'll see you back in about 2 minutes, and then we'll talk about some more comic book news. See you soon.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! With Nancy McCann. And Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. unique collectibles, lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming dead by sleep.
It's not just what happens when you have too many energy drinks anymore. Check out our content over there, too.
All right. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We were talking about some of the news in the comic book sphere before this. We have a few more stories to cover, a couple more meaty topics coming up, but I need a palate cleanser. I need some good, positive news after a few like negative kind of stories, and a couple things we'll have to talk about that I know will have strong opinions. Let's talk about something that I'm just straight up excited about.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait for okay. I'm cautiously optimistic about the Masters of the Universe project. I think it's going to be it's got the potential to be really fun. I love Evelyn, and seeing Alison Brie cast as Evelyn was awesome. I thought that was a really, really choice casting. How did you feel about that one?
Oh, it's good casting. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm curious to see. I know they mentioned one other actor, Nicholas Galzatine. Sorry if I don't pronounce that correctly. And Camila Mendez are also cast so far in the show. But yeah, it's pretty interesting to see this start to come together. And yeah, exactly. I see there's some people that are excited as well. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Hey, what's up, Ferd Bird? How's it going? Pleasure to see you this evening. Hope you're doing well. That's right, Lords of Brooklyn. Represent. What's up, Trav? And Collector Pete in the house. See you in there as well. Missed some hellos to some people, so definitely want to make sure I had a chance to say hi.
Chris and
Comic Trips was disappointed to learn that Masters of the Universe will feature nude heroes and villains. I, on the other hand, was quite excited, or rather, I will be. It should be all ages. Well, yeah, no, I mean, to be 100% honest, you're probably right. But yeah, also Jay in our private chat brought up something that I'll address real fast, because we are talking about Hollywood casting. I one of my little like knee-jerk pet peeves is, and Bigby knows this because I grouse about it all the time. I don't like the rumor casting stuff that is, so-and-so is rumored to play so-and-so. However, there are a lot of rumors going around right now that Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, Daryl Dixon on The Walking Dead. Also, I'll just throw out there, from Boondock Saints, which is how I got introduced to him, might be playing Null in the new Venom movie, which just had the Venom 3 trailer drop. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, the Dolph Lundgren film. I you know what? I haven't watched it in probably 25, 30 years. And I remember being, I thought, well, they definitely went for something here. And I liked it at the time. Like, as a kid, especially at that time, there weren't too many real grown-up live action style shows for a lot of our favorite things yet. And at least it was at the time for the time done pretty well.
And we had a post-credit scene in that movie. I mean, come on.
There you go. Were you a fan?
Pops out of the he's not dead. He comes out of the.
True. So I'm assuming you were a fan, Brian.
I was a kid then. I thought it was cool.
Yeah. It is very low budget for sure. I didn't know that he's not in good health right now. Oh, that's too bad. I don't know why. Just because I know he was like in some of the oh my gosh, the Indispensables. What are those movies called? The Disposables. What they have some name. The movies with all the old 80s and 90s action heroes.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Okay, about 50 people are going to yell at me in chat. Expendables.
There we go.
Thank you, Jay. Oh no, that is terrible. Well, hopefully there's something where he can jeez, chat. Oh, reading the chat here.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna highlight your comment, but
wow.
Thank you very much for keeping it positive and not being too thirsty in chat. But yeah, no, I thought it was good. I am, but to get back to the Norman Reedus thing that I was talking about, I don't necessarily buy it. There's actually an actor that's already in the film who is ostensibly not playing Null, but I wonder if they're going to do like a human host kind of thing for Null.
Okay.
And I will blank on the actor's name. I want to say Isaac something, but I'm probably wrong. But he was in House of the Dragon. He played the hand in that. He was did he play Connors in the Amazing Spider-Man movies or something like that too?
That guy?
Yeah, it's Rhys Ifans. Yeah, that sounds right. He has a very unusual name. Hey, Chad, we'll officially say hello on that message. Yeah, and to me he would be an amazing Null.
Right.
Now I know it doesn't make sense for him to play Null based on what we saw in the trailer, but I could easily see them doing something where Null comes to Earth to finally, try to kick Eddie's butt and takes over that character as exactly. Take over that character as a host for the symbiote god or whatever. I could see that.
That would be cool.
He has to look for it too. Like if you see some of the pictures of him with like longer hair, he's got like kind of whiter, longer hair in a couple of roles. Makes perfect sense.
For sure.
So I'm going to tackle this next story. I don't really have like a news site to bring up to show you, which I usually do. No, for sure. I think a lot of people are kind of in the same boat, myself included. I saw people saying that and I went, wait, what? And I went and looked and like, okay, I can't see it confirmed anywhere that that's actually true. And so it's just, it's usually like speculation that stems from one of the MCU style leakers, even though it's not technically MCU, you know what I mean? Marvel movie leakers. Yes, I do hope. I mean, hope against hope for this movie to be really good and to use Null. I hope they use this as a bridge to MCU stuff. We saw a hint of that in Venom 2. That would get me excited because I liked the first Venom movie. I don't know why, but I did. The second Venom movie, I was much less impressed with. Woody Harrelson as Carnage had me excited for a hot minute, and then and I mean, honestly, even like just the story beat wise, they do a pretty good job with like his backstory and his kind of supporting cast and that kind of stuff, but not really. They don't execute it very well. So yeah. Oh man, that would be fun. Yes, Ferdbird had a Venom 3 first appearance of Null, third print signed by Donnie Cates in like a 9.8, sold for like almost $800. I think he was talking about that. That's pretty cool. So there is some speculation. Hey, congratulations on that, Ferdbird. Yes, that's where I was just going to go with that, Chris. There are rumors about Venom Null to be in Spidey 4. Look, it would be cool because the rumors are kind of piling up. Like there's a lot of rumors that Peter would wear the black suit in Spider-Man 4 for the MCU. So there's some connections there. Obviously, Secret Wars is coming. There's a lot of stuff kind of brewing that makes sense along those lines. Yeah, that's the other thing that came along with the Venom 3 trailer is apparently, I don't know how true this is, but I know Donny Cates at least tweeted that it was a surprise to him that Noel was coming to Venom 3.
Right.
The thing I've seen from a few people is that they're worried that Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman, who co-created Noel, won't get paid. I can offer a tiny bit of information on this. So I interviewed Randy Emberlin on the channel a while back. That was my first major creator interview I kind of did, really. And we actually talked about creators and getting paid for roles because Carnage was coming out for Venom 2. And yeah, exactly. Stegman also posted he was surprised. And I will say, Roy Thomas, damn it. yeah, I forgot Roy Thomas. I got to get him in there. I owe him a nickel now. So Randy said, because I asked him, hey, are you, because he's a co-creator of Carnage. He's on the list. Are you receiving anything for your role in creating Carnage? He said, no. He said, I know David Michelinie and I know Mark Bagley both got paid. And he said pretty well, he thought, I don't know what that means specifically. And I didn't press for information, of course. But so I would imagine, given that precedent, that's just Venom 2, that's Carnage. I would imagine there's probably something similar in the works for Donny Cates and Stegman. I hope. I think a couple of their tweets read a little bit like there actually is something coming based on what they say, but maybe I'm misinterpreting that. It seemed like they were talking about, maybe there was joking too, but they seem to be talking about getting paid for it. So I am always in favor of creators being paid for their creations coming to the big screen or being monetized in some other kind of way. I think that should always happen in some way. There should be some form of compensation there at least. Okay. And I hate to say it even this tone, but at least then it would be more than a lot of other creators got. But you would hope that it's more than that for a multi-million-dollar budgeted movie. But I also know that's not the case. Studios making money off these creators should be getting compensated. I completely agree. Yeah, I agree. Let's get him out there. I want a remote location. Big B on the red carpet, going up and interviewing people as they get out of their limos and their Uber X's or whatever. Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd be down for that. After the move, they may want to disassociate. So I'll tell you straight up, Noel and Black Winter, both Donny Cates had co-creation credit on both of those characters. They're my two favorite Marvel villains from the last. I'm probably going to forget about somebody here, but I would say over the last 20 years, maybe. They're really cool villains. I don't necessarily love how they were used and how they were, how their story arcs ended, and they kind of ended with a whimper instead of a bang. I'll say that much. But I think they have huge potential. Seeing a symbiote god we have all these symbiotes. It made perfect sense. There was always kind of some hints at that as the lore was built for the symbiotes. And then with Black Winter, I actually think Black Winter has potential to be even cooler if used correctly. But so
they got me sneaking in booze into the theater and all kinds of stuff going on.
I used to work at a theater. I got some tips for you on how if you want to get that stuff in. I've picked up everything from crack pipes to full pizza boxes from movie theater floors. Take out Chinese food. People get creative. Chris says, well, don't you think the writers are creating less new characters these days because they don't necessarily want to give that stuff away? And that is something that, you know, when I talk about the compensation level, the prison wallet's coming up here. So,
oh my god.
I keep trying to keep it classy. No, I'm just kidding. I love it. There's a really funny joke there that I'm not going to make. But that, when I'm talking about creators not getting paid for their work, that's the kind of stuff I worry about, because I want, you know, I'm a big Marvel and DC fan. Like, I'm primarily a Marvel fan, but I like the big heroes having like cool villains to fight and having new, fresh, you know, heroes and villains and new story arcs that are entertaining. Like, I want that stuff. Well, one of the ways you get that stuff is by taking care of your creators and encouraging new talent to come work for you. And that's very hard to do if you're not, you know, why would you deliver your best work to those studios? Why wouldn't you take your awesome new character to somewhere where you could self-publish, or an indie where you have an arrangement where if, you know, hey, that got turned into a movie someday, you're going to be correctly compensated or more fairly compensated for your work. 100%.
But you don't get to see you're playing with the other characters in the Marvel universe. So.
Yeah, that's true. It is one of those things where it's. I think that's very, very good point. I think there are, in general, since like 2000, and I am just totally thinking about this off the cuff, I think that there's maybe better heroes that have been created, especially on the Marvel side, than villains. And then I was just kind of happy to see some epic villains come along. And I'll give it to Donny Cates. I don't necessarily love how he finishes stories. A little bit like kind of the Stephen King trope there, if you will. He doesn't finish great necessarily, but he sets up some damn good stories. And I do hope to see more from him once he's fully on the recovered side of things and wants to get out there and work more. So the story I did want to talk about, though, real fast, moving on from that I don't have any kind of link to bring up, is actually a huge shout out to our friend Mickey Swagglehouse. Go check out his channel for a video he posted recently detailing the new lawsuit coming filed by Beckett, which owns CBCS, against two ex-employees. I may have some of these details wrong. Again, go watch Swagglehouse's video. Basically, I'll boil down all of this to their contention is that two employees were working on subgrades for grading of comic books. Now, I have to explain that for a second. In some card company gradings, like baseball cards or even, you know, non-sports cards, that kind of stuff, there are subgrades in addition to the overall grade of the collectible. So something might be a Gem Mint. No, probably not. That's not a good example. Something might be a 9, but it has 10 corners and it has 8 centering, something like that. I'm probably getting some of those details wrong. I'm not huge in the card grading world.
Centering and corners.
Yeah, exactly. But as far as like how that final ratio is kind of calculated, I'm not 100% sure. But essentially, it's just getting more granular in how the grade was arrived at. And I've said for years, I think it'd be cool, not necessarily mandatory, but I think it'd be cool if comic books had subgrades. Well, apparently Beckett was working on subgrades, and a couple of the people that left Beckett CBCS recently to go help start the comic grading division at PSA, at least allegedly. I actually have a quote from Steve Borak that kind of disputes that one of the people in question is even working for PSA, which is very interesting. He's somebody who probably has some inside information. Anyhow, they were apparently bringing the subgrade idea that they worked on while at CBCS, again, according to CBCS, to the new company PSA. Not new company, but the new comic book division. So, Swagglehouse does a really good job talking about the court documents, talking about emails that were supposedly sent to external sources with that information. And a lot of people are talking about how this is kind of, this is silly, like subgrades are nothing new. A lot of people are talking about they think subgrades are a bad idea for comic books. A lot of different things are coming out of this. One of the things I've seen, though, was from kind of an interesting source, given the situation, from another YouTube channel, Comic Book Investments, who is the son of one of the people that is named in the lawsuit. So he's going to be the head of the comics division at PSA, according to David, who is the son. And he kind of, put out a video saying that, oh, this lawsuit's BS and subgrades are nothing new. This is a frivolous lawsuit. And I'm really paraphrasing. You should go watch his video too. I highly recommend it. But the real kind of interesting thing to me here is, I've worked for companies that deal with like IP generation, with developing tools, and pretty much any company you work for is going to, these days, they're going to have you sign something at some point in your new hire packet that will tell you that if you create something while you're on the clock or on our property or using company materials, we own all or part of or some of that. And I guarantee you that's something that's in the paperwork with CBCS. I can't confirm that at this point, but I'm 99.9% sure that would be part of something they would do. And then you go take that idea that you were working on, whether it's super original or not, you still were doing some of the work on it. And then you go over to another company and start trying to utilize that with the other company. That's pretty clear cut grounds for a lawsuit right there. So I have two questions for Big B, because I want to hear your thoughts on, then we'll get the chat's opinion. My first question is, how do you feel about subgrades in comic book grade? Let's talk about that part of it.
Well, I mean, we already kind of have like, white pages. We have, that kind of stuff going on. So, I mean, that would kind of play into it. Because I think on cards, it's surface, centering, corners. I can't remember what this is. There's 4 of them. But, and then they all play into the ultimate total grade. So we already kind of have that in comics with the white pages and the page quality, that whole thing. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could be interesting. What is that? Does kind of invalidate all of the previous graded stuff that's come out, or makes them less technically, focused on all of the, I don't know. It's a thing. It could be all right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. I guess, I'll just kind of piggyback on that, share my thoughts. Like, I think subgrades, we get a lot of complaints about graders notes. First of all, when it comes to CGC, you're lucky if you get graders notes a lot of times, has been historically the case. Right. But even if you do get graders notes, in a lot of cases, they're pretty vague. Right. Light bends to cover, stuff like that, those kinds of wordings that are, they're not real granular when it comes down to it. So even if you do get the information, you're not necessarily getting a lot of texture to that information. So I do think subgrades do kind of maybe provide some additional detail that might be important for the person. So if you're looking at a book and you're like, like CBCS for a long time, they had the check mark, right? They still do, I'm sure. Where if a book presented, was it a check mark? Was it a plus sign? I think it was a plus sign. I can't remember now. They had a mark on their label that if a book presented better than its grade, like we know this looks higher grade, but there's some defects that are keeping it out, they'd give it like a little mark on the label. I'm totally spacing on what that is.
CGC had the same thing. They had a little silver medallion deal that indicated that it looks better than the grade. Yeah. Oh,
interesting. Okay. I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Yeah.
The check mark. Okay. So I have about the check mark, and like, I kind of like the concept of the check mark. I just think it could have been executed maybe a little bit better, because I do kind of understand where they're coming from. I think subgrades are kind of part of that, the potential answer to that, which is, hey, the corners are super sharp on this, but there's bindery tearing that's excessive. That makes, if you look at it from the side, but that's the only way you're looking at it, then it looks worse. There's, a misaligned cover or something like that. Man, If they do centering for Marvel books from like the Bronze Age, good luck.
Right. Yeah.
There are so many like not only bad raps, but just like miscuts, and I mean, and they're not graded that way now because it's just part of the manufacturing process.
Diagonally off.
Yeah.
So the top of the book is, they had that bar going across, but it would have a diagonal shift at the top of the book. I bought plenty of graded comics.
Yeah, I've got there's like about 6 of those BCW bins back there. Like they're short box size, but they fit less comics. They fit like 20 to 25 each, I think. So I've got about 125 or so total, I think, because I've got a few displayed around too. So it's one of those things where I definitely would. And it's a good question for the chat, though. There are a lot of people that will only buy raw, and kind of like what Kamikaze is saying here. That's why you buy the book and not the grade. And in a lot of cases, that's definitely true. I've learned to not pay attention so much to the graded on the label, to pay attention to what I see in the book. However, that can go both ways. Sometimes you can see a book that's much higher quality inside the case, and you're like, I feel like it's going to be sold at a lower price because that's the grade on it, but it presents a lot better, or because maybe it needs a clean and a press, that kind of thing. So it becomes this whole kind of
that first video I got at Terrificon is like that. I had some people who do cleaning and pressing looked at it. They said, that thing could come out a 9, but it's right now as it sits, it's a 7.5.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Hialeah's down for centering and wrap should be taken into account. I mean, I don't disagree with you necessarily. I do kind of like CGC's stance on paper. I don't know how I have questions about their execution of it, but they theoretically take into account the production of the comic. I don't think it's as much of a science as they proclaim it to be, but like, let's say, we've noticed every copy of this comic book has a dent 3/4 of the way up and over. There was the first appearance of Tosin in Black Panther. Every second printing copy of that had that, from what I know, is like one little specific dent. And I think you could kind of tack iron it out if you're doing a press job on it. Some pressers said, but it was very tedious compared to a standard like press job. And it's like, so if every copy has that, how do you mark it down for having it? Like, I think that's something that maybe should be preserved on the grader's notes. I am all for transparency when it comes to that kind of stuff. That's what I want to see. Subgrades might help
too, when it's like a known production flaw too. Sometimes you'll get a new grader that doesn't know a known production flaw, and so your book that should get a 9.8 will get a 9.4 or something because that grader didn't know about a known. They had those things where it have the lines where the machine would run. And every book has it. But
yeah.
If that grader isn't educated on the known production flaws for that book.
Well, and it's like if you got your books straight from Diamond or Penguin Random House or whatever, Lunar, and like, there's comic shops that they order extra and they're like, oh, this book's turning out to be kind of hot. Maybe I'll just fire off my 5 best looking copies that restore stock to a grading company and get it graded. Well, if those are the first copies to arrive, there's no way that because look, here's what I think CGC should do. I think they should be buying like every comic that comes out, like just buy a copy or whatever on FOC for every book to have an example to compare to. Right. At least one. I know that's not a huge sample size, but it would help a little bit. Maybe they already do that. I can't say they don't, but I'm pretty sure they don't. But yeah, so to have an example to compare it to, but like the first times they're seeing those books, how are they going to know that every copy has like a little corner flap or something like that happened during production? Or
but I'm talking about like years have gone by and it's like a documented thing that there's this print run of this book, every single one has this production flaw. and you get some new guy who's never seen one before. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Kamikaze has a good point here too, that sometimes those production flaws can go for more money. Like, I mean, if you think about it, ultimately, like a double cover is a production flaw.
That's true.
I mean, in most cases, there's some rare exceptions where it wasn't, but yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing where, you know, some people are, I mean, honestly, probably most people are seeking those out versus like a standard copy. Yeah, Chad has a great point. Books and cards are different animals. He follows that up with cards have two sides, books have 32 pages or 80 or what. Yeah, I mean, depending on how you look at it, depending on what era it's from. It is one of those things where like people have constantly brought up whenever I talk about grading, about doing like computer grading or AI assisted grading for comic books. Man, I feel like you're just, I don't know, like you're having to open each page for it to see everything. And like, let's be real. I know at least at CGC, a lot of times they're not cracking up in those books as much as they pretend they are.
No, when he did that example of grading all of those books, I don't think I ever saw him crack one of them.
Yeah.
All he was looking at was corners and spines and edges, and that was it.
And that's been one of my pet peeves with grading comic books in general, is it seems to me like, I'm not saying like, I don't know if I need to get to the level like where every page is meticulously stared at and determined if it's correct or something like that. But I do think that there's definitely, you know, the internals of the book should be considered more in the grading process, other than just page quality. And a lot of times it really kind of isn't, unless you have things like missing pages, which generally are taken into account. Sometimes they're missed though. So it gets fun.
Well, you could also, like, what you could do, like you're saying, like a lot of times bindery tears don't qualify, but bindery could be a subgrade too. Like, okay, this one doesn't have any bindery tears, so it's a little bit better than one that would also get a 9.8 that has a small bindery tear. You know, so.
Yeah. But I mean, you know, I've heard like Matt Nelson to the point being made in chat here that example of grading books was all corners and spines. Yep. Yeah, it's one of those things where I've heard Matt Nelson say that, like, you know, a lot of graders will take 30 seconds on a book. And I mean, granted, okay, like you're doing this hundreds of times a day, like you see comic books all the time, you're looking at it. I get that you're going to get faster at it, but 30 seconds? And that tells me that what I think a lot of what they're seeing is brand new books that are getting slabbed, and they're really looking at kind of like the 9.8 pre-screen kind of quality of grading. And you know, this is we're kind of broadening the topic a little bit. This is all kind of down to the downfalls of grading and the pitfalls of grading. But hey, subgrades could help with some of those things, right? Like if it was taken into account. But if they spend 30 seconds and they're assigning subgrades.
Well, you know, I heard they're having a competition with the quality control guys. See,
are they?
You could spend less time looking at a book.
It's apparently a very successful campaign. They must be giving away. Oh boy, I was gonna make a terrible example. Like I was gonna say that maybe they're giving away a Cybertruck, but I don't think anybody really wants those anymore. They must be giving away something people want, a PS5 Pro or something. I don't know. Whatever you people like these days.
Young and black nowadays.
Some skibbity TikTok.
Oh my gosh,
V-Bucks or something. I don't know.
I couldn't believe we heard somebody go by and say that at the Comic-Con.
I went to the Halloween store with my daughter after a dentist appointment today, and my wife, and my wife spotted a skibbity toilet costume. It was just like an inflatable toilet, and then your head sticking out of the okay. We're doomed.
Yeah, as the fall of Western civilization, part 12.
Before we go to break, for our second break, Comic Tropes has an important question. I'm going to throw it to you, Bigby. Would you ever eat a graded comic?
Oh, that, you know, it's like eating glass. You got all that sharp plastic. I don't know. Like, you can eat a regular comic, but I don't know about a graded one.
I would definitely eat that CBCS graded banana. That looked pretty awesome.
You saw that meme with the banana costume. It said I'm going as a CGC book or CGC slab.
Yeah, I think I saw Josh Comics post that. I want to say is the first one. Is there an all-time best graded comic? That's the real question before the break. I mean, probably like what, Tech 27 or
the American Comics #1.
Yeah, AF-15. I mean, just like sheer dollar wise. I mean, there's
Action.
I guess Action 1, of course. That's probably the answer. High enough grade Action 1. Yeah, that's a tough one. The Invisible Comics created by Bad Idea. Oh, jeez.
RJ, that's true. It's more get off my lawn. Screaming into the clouds on the front porch.
Chad continues to be thirsty in chat. I'm all for it. I just won't highlight it because I don't want to get our other channel that we're streaming on in trouble, which, by the way, is the EXP, and also Big Me McFly comic book channel and my channel. So go sub up all of us and check out some amazing content. We're going to take our second ad break. We'll be back in a couple minutes with more comic book news and hard-hitting topics like graded bananas and all kinds of, what would you eat and who would you rather, and smuggling pizzas in the theaters.
Pizza smuggling. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, okay.
It's fun. We're just having clean, wholesome fun here, folks.
Good fun.
I can see you in 2 minutes.
Whoa. Did you miss it? Yeah, they can go by pretty fast. Let's slow down the footage.
Welcome. It's time to skim some comics. Miles Morales Spider-Man, I will just tell you that Miles is very important in his role as a vampire. So
It's fine. If you like Hercules, read it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. It's fine.
The art is still stunning. There's a panel, little spoiler, there's a panel in this where Chitauri first hits Lion-O, and he is the best "did she really just hit me" face I've ever seen put in a comic book.
Wow, live reviews of new comic books so you can be ready for New Comic Book Day. What is this? Oh, I see. It's Minute to Skim It. Part of the experience.
According to a statistic that I just made up, people spend 4 hours a day changing the television channel. People who watch The Experience don't do that. Save yourself a ton of time by tuning into The Experience and enjoying our new original programming 7 days a week. And then tell your friends. Think about the money they could save on batteries in the remote alone just by tuning into The Experience. Find out more by scanning the QR code below.
In a world where you hit like and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
That'd be really great. Thanks.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. I am, just to remind y'all, I'm your host, Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, joined by my co-host,
Big McFly, the comic guy.
And we were talking about some grading scandals and all that kind of stuff. Just to kind of recap that conversation, not recap that conversation, to cap that conversation. I do highly recommend going and checking out Swagglehouse Comics over on YouTube. Check out his latest video. I think it's his last upload yesterday about that lawsuit. And then I highly recommend, if you want to check out what I was talking about, comic book investments, go check out the video from the son of one of the people named in the lawsuit, who is a comic book YouTuber. If you want to see like the other half of what I was talking about, because hey, go get the information for yourselves. And with that said, let's get to our main topic of the day. Big Me McFly, the red carpet guy. I like it.
Okay.
I do want to acknowledge that, yeah, pizza smuggling is, I do believe we just birthed the latest skibbity toilet, Gin, I don't even know what we're on these days, probably Gin Sigma at this point. Different slang. And I probably just confused the hell out of like half the audience saying Sigma. Then Chad comes in with this. Like, bro, this is the kind of stat where I'm not even going to fact check this stuff right now. And yeah, I absolutely am impressed that was off the top of your head. That's really cool. I love it. That is a great stat. Agreed. Nick called it becking and boarding.
Okay.
Not touching that one. More hard-hitting questions from our chat. I love it. Keep it coming, folks. What cereal tears up your mouth the most? I'd say Captain Crunch. Now, here's a fun fact about me that's going to convince half of you that I'm like a psychopath or something. I don't eat cereal with milk most of the time because I eat cereal more as like a snack than I do like a breakfast. So I usually just like either, usually if it's a box I bought for myself just out of the box, as a snack, or in like a sandwich bag or something like that if I'm taking it with me. And Captain Crunch definitely is like the plain old Captain Crunch. The berries, if you get that kind, it kind of softens it up a little bit. It's a hard hitting question. What's your answer on that one, Big V?
Oh, definitely Captain Crunch.
Yeah.
I have the bags of nothing but berries. They had them a little while ago. I take those in my lunch all the time. Good snack.
Yeah. Yeah, good point. Shredded mini wheats are, oh boy. Yeah, well, grape nuts is a cereal that I'm not tackling without milk. Yeah. Man, there's people that put water in their grape nuts. Like, what? Do you hate yourself that much? I don't understand.
How you can make it? You can like heat it up and make it into almost like an oatmeal.
Sure, but if you're doing it cold, I don't understand that. But heating it up, yeah, it makes it more of an oatmeal. I get it. Even then, milk's gonna be better,
right?
Unless you're lactose intolerant or something.
Yeah, don't fib, Chris. You had that baggie with the cereal with the milk in it at the show.
He caught me, everybody. He caught me. I've been caught on the lie. Steve Bradley, by the way, hello, Steve, says, I'm weird. I eat my cereal soggy, and I even like to run my cookies under the water to get them soggy.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? You do you, boo-boo. That's awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying life to its fullest. This probably isn't what Steve means, but I actually could see some people might have some dental issues too. I could see that, like maybe it's like it's got to be really soft, that kind of thing. I get it, but just in general normal terms, it's Captain Crunch, 100% Captain Crunch. Lord Zero comes in with, I agree that Captain Crunch is tough. The berries are better. I agree with that too. Yeah.
Do you like the nothing but berries, or do you like the berries? And
I like the mix. The nothing but berry, like the Oops All Berries or whatever. I think I tried that once. It's just I actually enjoy the OG Captain Crunch. But what I really want them to do is bring back the G.I. Joe. What were they called? Not the All Stars, but the Stars and Stripes or something.
Yeah, I think was it Stars? Yeah,
Stars. I think that's what it was. I need to bring back that. I need to bring back the Batman, the animated series cereal. I'm pretty convinced both those cereals were just like basically Captain Crunch, in different shapes.
With a shape extruder, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that would be my real answer. Grape nuts doesn't just tear your mouth up. Okay. There's some bagging and boarding content for everybody.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Unhinged. Journos, shout out to Chris from Journos Comics and Pop Culture. Buy Captain Crunch berries, eat out all the berries first, and then by the time you get to the normal crunch bits, they will be deliciously soggy. I definitely have heard people approach cereal like that. Like, man, the people have those special bowls that like dribble the milk into the cereal and all that kind of stuff. Just be a psycho like me and just eat it raw. Just take it raw. Alpha bits are tough. Wow. Oh yeah, hello to you too. I'm glad you came in hot. We love it. We love to see it. Oh sure, yeah. All those milk alternatives, yeah. We more the merrier. The pain is worth it with peanut butter Captain Crunch, says Jay.
Peanut butter Captain Crunch. There we go. That's some good stuff.
And if Comic Tropes, who's smuggling in a pizza the way he mentioned earlier, is concerned about that, then you know it's a problem. So No, for sure. Yeah, no, 100%. Like I know you're being serial right now.
Serial killer, right?
Ooh, yeah, serial killer. Oh man, Hackers, one of my favorite movies. Serial killer, one of the best names in that movie. Dr. Plagueis, I'm not gonna lie. There's some kicks up there, and I hear that they're kid tested and mother approved. I might have to go get a bowl after the show. I don't know. And will I put milk in that? No, I will not. No. Honeycomb is another one of my favorites, by the way, especially since they're not too bad. Yeah, you know what? I'll put one up on my YouTube channel tonight for everybody. Follow my community tab, and you'll be able to check that out. So let's get on to this topic of these X-Men 97 comic packs. So I'm almost spoiling this a little bit, but here's a nice little graphic. So for those that don't know, and I will probably get a detail to or here wrong, and I love to be corrected in the chat. There's actually, I know at least one prominent Whatnot seller in the chat, so maybe they'll have some more information for us. But this is kind of interesting. So Whatnot, the comic, I say comic selling app, but it's really for a lot of other collectibles and stuff, is kind of always in the news in a way that CGC is kind of always in the news, because a lot of stuff they do is controversial. Let's put it that way. They damn it, Jay. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, and it's one of those like push lawnmowers, no motors for me. Thank you very much. It kind of looks like I trim it with a lawnmower too. Yes, Kamikaze is 100% right. Comics is actually like literally a tiny portion of Whatnot. In fact, I think they really wanted Whatnot to the comics division to take off. It did not happen. And probably, honestly, they shot themselves in the foot in some ways by some of the arrangements they made, in my opinion. So the interesting thing here, and I'm kind of like burying the lead here a little bit, or the opposite of burying the lead, I guess, is so Whatnot did these comic book packs. They're X-Men 97 packs, and there's random comic books inside. Random in this damn. Maybe there's a barcode you can look at. People are saying you can weigh them, that kind of stuff. But anyways, they are filled with special types of variants. In fact, actually, I'll pull that article back up because it mentions in the article that there are 4 variants in a historically limited print run. Trade dress, which is 1,250, virgin at 1,000 per variant, silver foil 500 per variant, and gold foil 250 per variant. There's a limited number of packs that contain ultra rare gold foil variants autographed by the artists themselves. This is straight from Marvel, by the way. I think I'm showing my Marvel Insider points there, but oh well. Yeah, that's right, folks. 260,000. What do you got? So here's the interesting thing, though, for those paying attention. This is a brand new thing on Whatnot, right? This article is from April 10th. Wait a minute, that's not recent. So shout out to Josh at International Comics for pointing this out to me, because I vaguely remembered this, but he definitely brought it home that this is not a new thing. These were actually handed out at and offered for sale at WhatNot Con, which was a con they had this weekend, April 11th through the 14th. So not new. In fact, some of these comic books are already out there available on places like eBay and stuff like that. So you can go find them before this all happened. The reason why I'm bringing this up primarily is because once these launched, a prominent comic book YouTuber that I know most people are going to be familiar with, Comic Tom, clearly had a sponsored deal. He was on the Marvel account, the Whatnot account, and his own IG account, doing like a little, I guess for lack of a better word, like a trailer kind of showing off opening one of the packs. Then that weekend, this last weekend, you saw a lot of prominent Whatnot comic book streamers selling packs or offering the packs in their streams. I saw so much FOMO happening over these packs. People went nuts for these things. I shout out to our buddy Comics Limited, Travis, who shared some screenshots that I'm going to try to pull up here real fast. 1 second, folks, and I will get that open. But these some of these packs were selling for hundreds of dollars, and that is
what they started. People started starting money at $100. Yes.
Whereas, like, for example, Comic Tom, I think, was doing giveaways on his stream, his first stream, and I'm sure some other streamers were too. They usually supply these things to streamers that they want to support and want to do well. It's a little, I don't know. I'll just say it's kind of one of my issues with WhatNot is that they tend to support streamers over others in weird ways. Like, they don't make it fair and offer it to everybody. How's it going, Mickey? We were just talking about you earlier for your latest video, man. Good job on that video. Really enjoyed your coverage of the CBCS
video about this too.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
I remember you and I pointed it out to you. You went, "Oh."
Oh no, maybe I am misremembering something. But yeah, no, it is interesting. So here's let me see. I gotta stop sharing this thing and present my saved photo here. So yeah, once again, shout out to Travis from Comics Limited for sharing some of the screenshots because he was watching a bunch of the feeds. So here's one that went for like $54. That's not that crazy, right? And then here's one that went for $63. You can see this down in the bottom, which that's cool. That's awesome.
Look who won.
I know. Yeah, one of the people that I chat with. I know you're closer to him than I am. Colossus Collector picked one up, but for that price, that's fun, right? Yeah. That's fun. And then here's another one that went for $64. All right. But then there were a bunch of them that were going. This one went for $222. This is Davis Ryder. He's another huge WhatNot streamer for comic books. Should clarify that. So $222, and we saw several sales around this price point, especially in this stream. Also, maybe this was kind of one of the later streams that was happening that weekend, so maybe the FOMO had built up to that point or something. Okay, so first of all, I don't care. It's people's business, whatever they want to buy comic books for. That doesn't really. I can have my opinions on it, but it doesn't bother me. It's just what you're willing to spend for something that you want. I'd caution people to maybe consider it, especially when, like I said, these things have been out since April. These are not new. There were sales on eBay for much lower than this for some of the nicer, rarer variants that are out there that people are kind of like, interested in or looking after. But mystery packs, blind bags, all these kinds of things are such a huge deal in our current society. Everything from Lego minifigures to sports cards to all kinds of stuff. Before we even dive super deep into this, I got to know, Big B, how do you feel about the idea of doing like blind bag comics for like, chasing rare variants, that kind of thing? How do you think about that?
I have some good friends who really enjoy doing that. So I mean, like you said, as long as you can afford it and you're doing it responsibly, then more power to you. Do what you enjoy. I personally wouldn't be doing it, but that's just me. I don't have a lot of faith in the long-term value of those things. So yeah, exactly. I think that's a good way to put it. So like Eggplant saying, but those books were given to sellers for free in April for WhatNot Con. Kamikaze saying, I sold these during that event. Oh, you know what? Hey, that's a good. Okay, so here's the 30-second elevator pitch for WhatNot. WhatNot is essentially a live selling platform
like an eBay Live is actually a competing platform now that was in development when WhatNot came along, where you can bid on items. The start times the auction times can vary. A lot of people do 30-second or a minute long auctions, although you can definitely do longer ones. There's either sudden death or there's clock extension ends to the items. But unfortunately, and I do say unfortunately, because WhatNot it's a range of people. And by WhatNot, I mean the sellers of comic books on WhatNot, specifically in this case. It's a range of people. There's fantastic, like I've bought from Kamikaze on WhatNot. Fantastic experience. Great seller. I highly recommend him. Comics Limited is a seller on WhatNot. I recommend going and buying from him. There's lots of great sellers on WhatNot. The problem is that for whatever reason, and the reason is greed and money, I guess I shouldn't say whatever reason, a lot of bad actors have taken up camp in the WhatNot comic selling space. Sellers I've talked about before, like Epic Nation Collectibles, for example, who, oops, sorry to bump the mic there, everybody, who was caught, apparently stealing comic books at a Comic-Con, who was caught, doing some pretty nasty stuff on his streams, who, like attacking other people and calling for all kinds of nastiness in his streams. So there's a lot of unfortunate stuff that does happen on WhatNot in the comic book space. They've been rife with controversy over and over and over again. There's, somebody that I can't name names or details, but there's a creator I was talking to today that was extremely upset over something that happened because of WhatNot. And it really broke my heart to hear the story about, this is something that everybody in this chat would probably know. And it's just, it's sickening to see because of something that started on WhatNot and had to deal with how WhatNot works, and they can't get a resolution from WhatNot. They're basically not able to stream right now. And that's just terrible. Yeah. And to be fair, it's not just comic books, as I definitely should have pointed out more. Hey, Matt Spidey. What's up?
All kinds of stuff. Matt Spidey. Hey.
Yeah. By the way, Buddy, I don't remember if I actually said hello to you on the show. I'm so sorry if I didn't. Hello to Buddy. Definitely deserves a hello there. And probably true for a few people in the chat as well. I don't, VV Vet, I don't know, with your name, it's coming across here, and I don't know, are you repping VV or what's going on? Just because with looking at your name, I have to wonder, are you actually working for them? Because I could kind of get into it, but if that's the case, maybe we should have a conversation at a different point too about it. Yes, 100% true, and that's what I'm talking about. The greed and the money coming into play. Kamikaze says most selling platforms have their issues. Right. The FOMO part of it, the part where people want to spend their money on it, that's up to them. The part of what I did for a long time on YouTube was the top 5 not to buy comic books, which I am trying to figure out how to resurrect that series. I want to do it in a different way. I've been kind of playing around with some ideas. It is absolutely one of those things where I want to encourage people to be careful with their money, because I know people personally that go in on this stuff and spend money that they shouldn't spend, because at the end of the day, a lot of this is gambling. Mm-hmm. It's not putting your money into a slot machine. It's not putting your money down on a blackjack table. It's not the roulette wheel. It's not betting on a football game, but it's still gambling. And definitely people, Okay. That's cool. Hey, by the way, thanks for your service. I should also point that out for Buddy too, who is also a veteran. Thanks for your service, because we are doing the Heroes for Heroes fundraiser here in November to raise money for Mission 22 to help support veterans. So we always appreciate that. No, my thoughts on VV are kind of long and complicated, and I do appreciate the question. I'll just say, I think it's kind of a fad personally, but that's just how I view it. I think it's an interesting fad. I think it has potential. I think I'm more interested in what Distillery was talking about doing, which is you get almost like a digital collectible exclusive variant cover, and it's like limited, and it has to be transferred in their marketplace kind of a thing, but then it still has access to the comic and all that stuff too. I think that's maybe a more interesting platform, but that's kind of my thoughts, just to acknowledge your question. So
an interesting topic to talk about when we have time to dive deeply into it. Yeah, for sure.
100%. And I'd love to talk to Karl Choi of 24/7 Comics. They've done a partnership for their last couple launches. They launched a couple great comics, Zero Ghost and Evermind, really fantastic comic books. I think that company has a lot of, it's going to get a lot of people reading and have eyes on them. They're bringing in like celebrity and really, really cool talent. So I really recommend checking it out. I know they do some stuff with VV too. So with their launches and they're really liking what they're seeing because it's exposing them to a different audience. That's cool. I'm all for that.
If more people reading comics, then yeah, I'm all in. That's
totally.
Cool. I know that almost kind of ties into and I don't know enough to really speak to it, but I know like that Bronze and Modern Gods for a while were jumping into those when they would do a big release for like some of the early Marvel stuff. But
yeah,
you would get random draws to get like gold versions or silver versions or just like we're talking about with these Marvel packs, these WhatNot packs. But
yeah, and by the way, journos, this is a great analogy. It's like gambling at ticket arcades where you spend $500 just to get the big teddy bear that would cost you $10 at Walmart. Right. That's a really good analogy, and I think that's kind of what it boils down to. And to me, it's just it's not hating on anybody who's doing any of this. It's just, boy, I hope people have caution and know what they're doing when they go after these things.
Right. We got a bunch of WhatNot sellers in here and everything. I will speak for myself. I had to actually like delete the WhatNot. I stayed away from it for like almost 2 years. And then I was like, my buddy talked me into getting into it. And I was on it for like maybe a month. I had to delete it off my phone because I was getting myself in trouble.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, and there's a lot of people that are, I mean, I did some things too, where it's like, I was trying to save up and I was like, man, I'm on there. Oh, this is a good deal. Oh, that's a good deal.
Well, you and I got on a couple of times and we would be feeding off each other. Oh, that's a good deal. Wow. Look at that.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where it's like, I fire it up every couple of months and I usually regret it. Although, I mean, like sometimes I've had some fun stuff to walk away with.
That we'll run a She-Hulk for like $60.
There you go. I got some cool Larry Hama Wolverine comics and stuff like that on that same sale we're talking about. But the condition wasn't great because the shipping was pretty terrible.
Yeah.
Eggplant. I want to bring up Eggplant's comment here because I think it is a good point. Which is, by the way, I was a seller on WhatNot for not nonstop, but I did it for like close to a year. Really strong for a few months, and then I just did occasional shows after that. And this is 100% true, at least as of when I was a seller. I have no doubt to believe it's still true. Returns go to WhatNot. The seller the seller does not get the books back, but WhatNot lets the sellers keep the money, and that is like I said, that's true. Yes, yeah, exactly. Seller does not get the books back, so it's like if you send a return back, it's not like they're like double dipping and selling the book again or something like that, which is nice. But the problem is unfortunately you have people operating on there like Epic Nation who, in my personal opinion, not the opinion of anybody else on screen or that I'm representing right now, should have been kicked off that platform ages ago, and now is off the platform. He says due to like some kind of a technical issue with shipping. But there's some pretty strong evidence to indicate it has to do with a ongoing mail fraud investigation. So allegedly, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I've talked to some people that do some reporting on that, and they seem pretty sure. And you might want to follow like Nemesis Prime as a good person to go follow for some of that information. So, by the way, the fake out here from Comic Tropes, I just have to address this. Sad news. A big comics writer passed.
I saw that.
It wasn't recent. Stan Lee. This reminds me of that joke at the panel. I write Batman. I don't get paid to do it, but I don't do it well, but I do it.
I draw Batman not very well, and I don't.
Oh, yeah. Yes. So Comic Trips also said they've asked me many times to do a show on their platform, but I don't understand what I'd sell. Maybe they expect me to sell my old comics and just bring my audience there. And that is, I think you're 100% right. With the follow-up coming here from Renegade Rants, they want your audience. That is pretty much their MO from what I've seen and what I know. They brought in, and a lot of people I'm about to name, I really like, or I've had good interactions with them, but they brought in like all the big comic collecting, YouTubers, to do shows. And it's been a wild ride following some of that stuff as it's gone on, for sure. Shout out to Hector Ortiz. What was that, baby?
Bueller was in there for a while.
Yep, Bueller was actually sponsored by WhatNot for a while, and that kind of ended in flames, historically. So, as he had to kind of set the record straight. Well, I mean, some of them have digital signal noise issues, and they get like a 9. But yeah, for the most part, chasing that dopamine dragon. But I mean, it is funny, and there's a lot of great jokes being made about it. But there is also this serious thing that happens where, I'm dead serious. When I made those videos, like the top 5 not to buy, there's a lot of people that they would take like the top 10 lists and the trending 20 lists of these apps and stuff like that, and they would blow a lot of money on this stuff thinking like, oh, well, I'm going to hit it big when this book pays off and hits. And if you followed up, I did a follow-up series where I went back and tracked the prices across multiple platforms. 90% of those books were much less expensive than they were when they were on those lists, or back down to their level, and people were going crazy buying them when that list came out. It is absolutely a serious problem. So, oh my God, Vivi coming in with a hot fire questions. I'll tell you what,
That's not a good question. That's a deep question.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying it's like it's almost like a tossing a hand grenade in and then walking away and seeing what happens.
Right.
At a nerd convention. I did a video on this, by the way, if people are ever curious of my thoughts. It's an older video of mine, but it's kind of like the concept I made was sort of like our first appearances rookie cards. Like, is there a similar thing there? And what I really did is I talked about comparing Hulk 180 and 181 for the first appearance of Wolverine, X-Men Annual 14 and X-Men 266 for Gambit, and Uncanny X-Men 282 and 283 for the first appearance of Bishop. And I compared, like, it's funny how we view those 3 books when they all have some things in common and they all have some differences that would suggest that, well, this book's worth more, so you'd think that book would be worth more, but no, there's a different rule for that character. And it's very interesting. Right. I'm very staunchly on the first time a character appears in a comic book in story or on the cover, that is their first appearance in comics. That's just where I'm at. So I would say 180. Are you a 180 or 181 guy? I don't remember.
I technically first appearance would be 180.
Yeah.
And first Venom would be 299.
Yep.
But the market has spoken on what people prefer.
Yeah.
So.
Hey, yeah, I was gonna say you got a copy of that. Oh, hey, by the way, Vivi, no, none of this is like. But I have lots of content that's directed at people that are kind of new to comic book collecting or interested in those kind of topics. The only joke is that those things are so discussed sometimes that people are like, here we go again, but they're valid topics. That's why they keep getting discussed over and over again. So we absolutely love having you here asking those kinds of questions, dude. Yeah, thank you for doing that.
Really cool.
Yeah. We are at the point where I need to take my last and final ad break. So final reminder here. By the way, you really want to come back from this one. We have a slate of amazing community art. We have, I'll just tease you with this. We have professional artists that have reached out that want to be included in the community art section. They're not going to be part of the big contest we're doing. We're going to exclude them from that. But they reached out to Big B and they're like, hey, can I get my art? Some of this art is just phenomenal. It's really cool. One of the pieces, like, I would love to own the OA. And then there's amazing art from some of our community members you've seen before and some new ones. So I highly recommend sticking around. check that out. We're going to be back in less than 2 minutes for our last break here, and we'll see you for the rest of the video at the end.
Some comic live streams seem like they're just throwing everything at the wall. Hey, you want this unknown comic? Here, how about this boring one? Found this one in a rain gutter. Give me some money for it. I know this looks like a rotting sandwich, but I swear it's a comic. Pay me! But with Comic Collectibles, we know you don't just want comics, you want the right comics. You want rare, variant, and incentive covers, vintage books in pristine condition at prices you won't find anywhere else, and truly unique, hand-drawn cover sketches by some of the most amazing artists in the business. Join Rex and his rotating cast of co-hosts live from Dynamite Entertainment headquarters for a carefully curated roster of comics that you'll only find here at Comic Collectibles. Every Monday at 6 and Wednesday at 7 Eastern Time. Part of the experience.
Did you know that Arthur, King of the Britons, in Monty Python and the Holy Grail was played by a famous Graham? Check out another famous Graham by following our Instagram. Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. We're here for the final segments of the show. We are going to be talking about some awesome stuff like our community artwork that we really want to highlight. I am Christopher, aka the Bronze Age Nerd, and I am joined by my brilliant co-host.
Me.
You. No, that is Big B McFly, the comic book guy. Please go check us out on our individual channels, as well as the place where we're streaming. In addition to our channels, the EXP, definitely go hit them up and give them a subscription. There is lots of amazing content on the EXP that I think you're going to like. After all, we're on there. And if we're on there, there's got to be lots of other great programming, right? I love the chat here. Like, it's been so awesome and so diverse following along. Like, we have Chris from Comic Tropes talking about the dilemma of, like, why does WhatNot want me on there and what would I even sell? We have people asking for WhatNot to sponsor them. We have people talking about Cameo versus First Full. It is just absolutely amazing.
I will say, Chris, like WhatNot, some of the people that I know that were asked, WhatNot supplied them with stuff to sell.
True. But I mean, it's a whole thing. Like, you really have to be wanting to get into it. I definitely can hook you up with some sellers. If you want to kind of like understand if it's like what it's like on the level I imagine that you'd be on if you started selling that platform. If you're curious and want to ask like somebody who's been doing it for a while, Kamikaze, the few others that are definitely at a higher level on WhatNot that I could have you talk to. There's actually, I can introduce you to some of the very largest sellers in the comic book space on the platform. Let's put it that way.
Chris and I like to buy comics at 1 a.m.
Yeah, there's that too. But yeah, in fact, if you want to, back in the early days of comic book selling on WhatNot, one of the bigger sellers on that platform is Skeff, and I interviewed him about selling on WhatNot and what it's like. It was a day before I did my first stream on WhatNot, so I was like, hey, what, and we queued it up as content for new sellers on WhatNot. Some of that information is dated, but it is still probably kind of interesting. 100% they gave people packs for free. Yeah. And then that's interesting to hear about the paid option. I do wonder if people got more of those packs for a better deal than that too. I bet you we could find that out. Are we on Threads? Yes, I'm on Threads, and Biggie, you just joined Threads recently, didn't you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I jumped in and started reading some things. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You keep saying you've got all these followers on Threads, and I'm like, I do.
Yeah, it is one of those things that's it's interesting. I'm on Threads. I'm technically on Blue Sky too. I realized I forgot to post on Blue Sky, and I finally started posting there again. I try to like lock my name down at least at every place, and I try to. What was the thing from The Office? They called it like a woof or whatever, where it sends out like a fax, a text, an email, all that stuff. I try to like blast everything out. It gets tedious though.
Right.
So, I did want to. There was one other comment in chat. Where was that? Oh yeah, Comic Tropes is asking what day is your Heroes for Heroes live stream, and that's a great question. I am still trying to nail that down. It will be the weekend of Veterans Day, which is on November 17th. So if it's not November 17th, it might be November 16th, which is the Sunday. I just need to kind of firm that down on my end. It's a long day of streaming that I'm planning on doing. And then we are going to have some satellite events. Mm-hmm. There's actually a few people I want to reach out to, Comic Tropes, that might be able to kind of help out with some of that stuff too. So maybe we should talk offline. But there's a few people that are probably going to be running either smaller sales of like auctions, or what I really want to get people to do is kind of do some like live art sketching where we take bids while they're sketching. We did that with great success last year. Comic Journey did a stream where a bunch of community members were sketching live. We raised almost like $1,000 the first night of the show, first night of the campaign, which was amazing. But I know we know some people that know like some comics pros that could do some stuff like that. That would be really fun. Those are the kind of things that we're reaching out and trying to get people kind of firm down on now. So we will probably have a slate of programming leading up to Heroes for Heroes. At least that's the plan. Still kind of building that coalition. So
sure.
Sweet. Appreciate the follow, man. Thanks a lot. And yeah, absolutely. We're always down to have any. We try to make the show available to anybody, regardless of the comic book knowledge. A lot of people probably roll their eyes when I start to explain some kind of maybe more basic things, but I mean, I know people are watching that have no idea, like what's WhatNot exactly, all that kind of stuff. There's people that don't know or have no idea, so it's good to explain that stuff.
I had to have, like I said, I avoided it because I knew it was going to be dangerous for me, but Travis had to explain a lot of that to me. I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
I will say the final thread, what was it?
Chris is thinking about drawing a G.I. Joe for the event.
I
wish it was in frame, but there's a Baroness up there that is amazing that he did. And this guy drew an amazing Baroness as well for Heroes for Heroes. So
I drew a Phoenix.
And so did Ivan Tao.
But the final straw for me for WhatNot was I had a guy I bought. It was one of those 1 o'clock in the morning kind of things, and I bought a whole bunch of Mark Jeweler insert books from him, and they were going for like $1 a piece. And I was going to have like 50 or 60 Mark Jewelers coming, and then he canceled all my orders, and I was done.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely, as a seller on there, I've definitely had things go for like, especially since I was a smaller seller. I think, when WhatNot was kind of ramping up in the comics division, I think I had like 600 followers probably, which was nothing to sneeze at, but a lot of people had over 1,000 at that point already. And a couple people had over like 2,000 already. But it was still pretty early on. And so I was feeling pretty good about it, trying to get going. But man, when you'd have a room with like 10, 12 people watching, and you're like, okay, well, I need to throw some stuff out here and get people interested and, get people bidding and trying to, hey, when you're selling comics on an auction platform, you want things to go for a decent amount of money. I totally get that. I think as long as you do that ethically, again, it's if the audience wants to pay for it, that's fine. I never hyped up books. In fact, there's often times where I was like, yeah, I wouldn't pay more than this for this book or that kind of stuff because I just don't want people to overpay for stuff. But there's also times where things that were like $100 book at the time or $80 book at the time would go for like $15 and $10. You're like, oh, like that's a big hit, like
Well, this fellow bought like bulk lots from like an auction house or something, and so like he did a really good job of like showing the condition of the books, the fronts, the backs, and he would open them up and show the interior. And he's like, "Well, this thing has like a glossy thing in the middle. What is this?" And people had to explain to him what Mark Jewelers were, and he was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna start it at $1," and nobody was bidding, and so I was just like,
"Wow,
okay, you know."
Wow.
But I think somebody must have contacted him after the show, and then he just canceled. It was like I was at work the next day. It was just like bing, 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 bing. My phone just started lighting up. Cancel, 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 cancel. I was just like, all right, I'm done. So.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe he just looked it up after the show or whatever. Hey, Chad, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. We know it's late for a lot of people. We get it. We'll be wrapping up the show here really soon. I'm actually going to start showing the community artwork right now because there's so much great artwork.
And Chad, you're hilarious. You have some hilarious comments. So
yes, absolutely. Thanks for the entertainment. This first one is from Actual Dracula, who speaking of Heroes for Heroes, I won't reveal his secret mission, but he's on a secret mission right now for Heroes for Heroes. Hopefully it pays off. We wish him luck up in the wilds of the Canadian wilderness. But he drew this awesome Barda piece here. This is really cool.
Great.
Yeah. I got 2 more pieces from Dracula I'm going to show here. He did a great job on that. He did this dope Batman. That's really cool. Underrated artist.
Yeah.
And I love this Turtles. This is my favorite by far. Very cool. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on that. That's really, really good. So
it's really good.
Well done, Actual Dracula. A live Sasquatch. So this is one of the professionals that reached out, Ava Schrager. Look, man, I'm blown away. That is awesome.
Yeah, and to be clear, like they just the people that reached out, they just said they wanted to inspire people to draw. And they said, tell people that when they started out, they were rough and it was, didn't look wonderful. And, it just takes time, but they wanted to encourage people to draw. So.
Yeah. And these aren't like I have, they're all just in alphabetical order. Maybe I should order them differently or whatever, but I'll let you know if it's somebody who's a professional or not. And frankly, it's like when we started doing this, it was like, this is our community, it's the comic community. But if you're watching this and we exist and you draw, feel free to send your stuff in because it will inspire people. This is a huge part. Like I said earlier, we had some more heated, controversial topics. Everybody in chat was awesome. Everybody has been great about everything so far. But it's one of those things where it's like we talk about the positivity, we talk about like the awesomeness, people inspiring others, people drawing awesome stuff. That is how we do it. So.
And you can find Ava at cons. She's there doing.
Yeah.
She was a terrific con. She had a booth there. That's right.
This is awesome. Nice little Sephiroth here.
I had to read a little bit about him. So he's the one-winged angel, huh?
And it's a character from Final Fantasy is really the claim to fame. But yeah. Awesome art. Kind of a switch up from the last stuff, but hey, I like it as well. Good job. And this was my favorite. This is awesome. This is awesome. This is a great Harley Quinn.
Yeah, she
did a great job. I'm sorry, the picture is a little blurry. That's not the art. I think it's just the resolution of the picture.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fantastic. I love this. I love the classic Harley. It's great. So
good job.
Good job, professional artist. Well done. You continued. No, in all seriousness, really well done. Speaking of talented artists, though, I mean, we've got lots of talented artists, including Ben Taz, who's in here. Been in here, I think, every week that we've shown community artwork, I want to say.
Oh, yeah.
And continues to impress. I've still got even more artwork that you haven't seen yet from Ben. Huge range. So we have this from, this is the comic that he's working on, I believe, right?
He has a little graphic novel that he self-published. Yep.
Okay. in addition to, I love this comic. I mean, this is great. Yeah, I love that. That actually like cheered me up the day I saw it, just like how clever that was. I like it. And then this has also been, so just showing that range. Great detail in that city. Very like I don't know, like Akira or Ghost in the Shell or whatever.
And that art style, that reminds me of like Turtles stuff. Almost like the city looks and everything. But.
Very much so. I know it's gonna be a little blurry, but I mean, just I drew a terrible cityscape for John Stout behind Batman. He won like a super chat prize or a giveaway prize for Heroes for Heroes. So that's why I drew him as a big Batman city skyline. And man, drawing like complicated city skylines is tedious. And look at all this. Look at all this detail. Just did a fantastic job. So well done there. I think this next one is actually, I definitely want you to talk about this, Bigby.
So this is my son. My son, he was wanting me to design some characters for him. And so he gave me a basic outline of what he wanted the guy's costume to look like, and then I kind of 3D rendered it for him, or art rendered it myself. So,
yeah, that is very cool. Did he name the character?
I don't remember the name of the character.
Okay, fair enough.
But
so this is kind of what your son did, is that kind of like let's call it like a concept sketch, right?
Right, concept sketch.
And then here's what Bigby is working on for it. That's really cool.
Turning what he drew into what,
yeah,
look more like what it could look like in a game or something. So
it kind of reminds me of Darklon from G.I. Joe, actually, Destro's son.
I can see that.
Yeah, that's cool in a good way. I mean, I'm obviously a fan of that stuff. Good job, man. That's fun. I love that it was that concept by your son, and then you finish it. That's so cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
Do you only have digital copies of these? So I only have digital copies of these, and we will, as we count down towards the end of the year, like probably after Heroes for Heroes, I'll be sharing a lot more of this on my Instagram feed. I'm sure Bigby will probably do collaborations so we can both share it as we count down and have people like kind of vote on what they like the most, and try to narrow it down to what people's favorite submission by each artist was, so we can kind of do a giveaway for all the non-professional artists. Oh, I'm sorry. You're correct. Yeah. His cousin, not his son. Whew. Yeah. Thanks for covering me from the angry commenters that would be coming in after that. So yeah. So this is one that I think you sent this, and I did not get much information on the artist. So I'll let you describe the conversation you had with is it Blake Canvas?
Blake,
yeah,
Blake Canvas, and Triskelion Sisters. Is that what it's called? I believe it's called.
The next one that
Triskeli
Sisters.
Yeah, and so this is his book that he's putting out himself, kickstarting, I guess, and so he wanted to show off his artwork.
I mean, that is cool. And I think I have one more image. Actually, I think I might have a couple of panels. Obviously, it's a little fuzzy. Sorry about that.
Get an idea of what it looks like, though.
Yeah, I like that kind of black, white, and red palette. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
And then here's another set of panels. A little layout there. So really cool. I mean, definitely love the art.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. European vibes. Definitely.
I think you can check him out. Triskeli Sisters Kickstarter. So, but yeah.
So there's that. I'll zoom in on that name if anybody wants to Google it to try to find that Kickstarter or find more information about it. There you go. Triskele Sisters. Very cool. So move on to our next submitter. This was Eddie Rodriguez. I think we showed a few images of Eddie's, like I remember a ghost spider a couple weeks ago, I think.
Right.
dope spawn. I really like that. Almost like a little chibi-esque kind of. Very cool.
Right.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
And then I'm a sucker for death.
Yeah.
Very cool. Only thing I'd say, and I don't ever want to make this like negative or too critiquing. I do wish that the necklace was there, but other than that, yeah. So, but hey, very cool, very cool. It's great art. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And then Gwenpool. Hey. Oh no! Teaser
there.
Yeah. Sorry, I think I scroll wheeled when I should have clicked. So there's a Gwenpool, looks like a sketch cover, that was done. That's very cool. Got some talent there.
Sure.
Good job, Eddie. Thanks for the submissions.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah. Okay, this is from Elliot Wright, another sketch cover. Hey, this is one of those hot X-Men 97 variants that we were talking about, right? I think that's some dope Wolverine art there.
So he's a tattoo artist.
Oh, okay.
And I shout out to Elliot. He super supportive on Instagram to all the stuff that I post on there. So thanks, Elliot. So
fair. I mean, that's a really good Wolverine, like Logan there.
Yeah, just excellent use of all the deep blacks and everything.
Yeah, for sure.
Like a tattoo artist would do, right? I mean,
yeah. Definitely. I love, like, I don't have any tattoos, but I love tattoo art. So I definitely can respect that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And then he did this Nightcrawler is badass.
Yeah.
Again, especially a character that really lends himself to that look. That's often how he was drawn, with the like deep black shadow on the face and everything. But just did a phenomenal job there.
Yeah, he had a Kickstarter as well, I think. So for a book that he was working. So
sorry for those watching the review. I'm not laughing at Elliot's art. I got comic tropes in here with his pizza talk again, and I love it. I'm here for every minute of it.
Pizzas. In an uncomfortable position.
What, like the back of a Volkswagen?
Yeah.
So once again, have to feature some brilliant pieces from Roscoe. Roscoe, you are a treasure. We love featuring your artwork. I love the storytelling and the comedy you bring into your artwork. This just dude, Homer Simpson as Galactus with Bart. It's so great. It's so great. I love it. This is well done. And then this is cool. Red Velma.
Amazing.
Wilma, not Velma. I'm thinking of Scooby-Doo. As I often do. Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
You think of Scooby Snacks. Come on.
I'm probably giving Roscoe ideas for another mashup. There we go. Very cool.
That's really nice.
Yeah. And then I've got, I think, one more from Roscoe. Oh, dude. Kind of like a Into the Spider-Verse, maybe inspired version of Kingpin there a little bit with the animation. I mean, not like exactly, of course, but that's cool. I love that.
It is really cool.
Okay. So Comic Joe, I gotta address this. He says, do you think Wolvie can keister a whole pizza? I mean, sure. I think anybody can if you try hard enough. Don't try that at home, people. Not an endorsement. But then Renegade says comic accurate Wolvie would have to be a personal pan, and that's just laser accurate. Laser accurate. All right. Once again, huge shout out. Some amazing artists. I can't believe we have professionals submitting their stuff to just to inspire people. Don't let that intimidate you. That's the exact opposite of what we want that to do. Don't be intimidated by the professional artists. Realize that they're trying to do it to get you to show more of your artwork, and we would absolutely love to see it. Good point. That was inspired by Sienkiewicz 100%. That's fantastic bring up.
We actually had people that are like YouTubers who have just they said if I do a sketch stream, they'll come in and they'll draw, even though they don't have an artistic bone on their body. They'll try to do. I said that's great. You know, I'd love to see this. You got to start somewhere, and it'll get better. It'll get better.
Well, that's why I started drawing again. I can't remember who actually hosted it, but I think it was on a stream with K-pop and Comic Journey, and I don't remember who else. I started drawing like a rogue, and it was the first time I had drawn for other than like drawing with my kiddo or something like that for the first time in like, I don't know, 15, 20 years, maybe a long time. No, that's not true. I did do a few like quick sketch kind of things with my wife because she saw some of my old artwork and she's like, she's a much better artist than I am. She does like paintings and stuff. And she's like, oh, well, you should draw more. And she's kind of always inspired, like encouraged that. And so, hey, maybe that's where part of this comes from. I want to encourage it with others as well.
Yeah.
No, as a well actually guy myself, I want to be corrected 100%. But I believe it was actually inspired by Sienkiewicz's cousin. That's what I remember. For Heroes, you two could body paint each other.
Definitely.
I mean, we could do lots of things. I want to get donations though.
Right. They didn't say we had to put it on camera. We could.
That's true. That's true. Well, yeah, good point. I don't know. I was just picturing it happening live.
My camera is like you're trying. Don't laugh. Don't. You're tickling.
No, keep going. So the. By the way, shout out to K-pop, who I know attended a con this weekend and got a chance to meet up with the old co-host and the executive producer over at the EXP. Got to meet up with Kyle. Saw a picture of you two hanging out there. That was really cool to see. Mystique. I'm just picturing like that Pink Floyd album cover where it was all the women's backs. It was like their album covers on their backs, or I guess it wasn't an album cover, it was a poster or whatever. Yeah, that's what I'm picturing. Soon to be award winning. Ooh, interesting. Nice. I'm glad you two got a chance to meet up. That said, community art is something that we always want to feature. So if you have art and you're watching right now, please send it in. We'd love to show it. Give us that opportunity to praise your artwork. It doesn't matter what level you're at. We want to see it. That's what she said. And also on that note, on a more serious note, this whole stream has been off the rails. But luckily I can just blame like comic tropes and it'll be fine. I'm gonna get a phone call tomorrow. But it's the other thing I want to mention is he's mentioning Heroes for Heroes. If you have any way you want to contribute to Heroes for Heroes, please reach out. We're going to feature all that kind of stuff on those feeds as well. It is coming up. It's making my heart pound just thinking about it. It's coming up here in about 2.5 months. So we definitely, that sounds like a lot of time. It's really not. We've got a lot of work to do, and we need all those amazing donations from people, whether it's to the Mission 22, whether it's just your efforts in donating your time to help raise awareness, or if you want to donate comic books or art or something like that for us to auction off to raise money for that cause, as many people have done, and I'm thankful to all of them. We definitely appreciate it. So thank you very much. On that note, I know you've had some content come out. Is there anything you want to promote before we sign off for the night?
I've got to tweak up some. I got to put some music to a video that's coming out shortly after we end the stream. So I got to put a little bit of music on there, and it's going to be coming out. So that'll be coming out tonight.
Nice. I've got a couple irons in the fire. I've got a lot of Heroes for Heroes stuff I'm doing, reaching out, all that kind of stuff. But that's going to be all pretty much on the back end.
I do have one more that I'm working on.
Yeah.
I'm doing the thing that Bueller asked everybody to do, the most important video we've ever made. So if you guys aren't aware, Jen, I thought it was on our show notes. Wasn't it in our show notes?
You know what? It was, and this is just me not being with it. I'm going to bring it up here in a second.
So yeah,
you keep talking.
So she's dealing with a battle with fighting cancer, and so she needs our help. She's a very important member of the comic community and just an awesome person in general. And so she's got that ongoing battle going on, and we're just trying to help raise some money. She has a GoFundMe page, and yeah, she could use your help. And just an awesome gal. So I'm making a video to do that. And I've done some stuff on Instagram. I've asked people to repost and share and just get the word out. I think, like Bueller said, if everybody that gets to watch these videos only donated $1 to $5, she'd be doing well and not having to worry about where the money is going to come from to pay the bills, and just being able to focus on getting better. So
yeah, and it's just to echo that, I've had the pleasure of meeting her. She's an extremely warm, wonderful person. Somebody that I think we definitely as a community should go up to bat for. A couple amazing charities coming up in the community that I think are totally worth supporting. But right now, I think it's very key that we support this one. And this is a push that I'm not going to forgive myself for not talking about at the beginning of the show. I definitely should have done that. Unfortunately got into the flow of doing the comic news. But we are talking about it now. And if you can share out that GoFundMe, go visit that link. Watch any videos that are coming out in support of her. I know it's, might look like, oh, hey, she raised a lot of money. That's over the course of like the last year plus or so. And I know that a lot of that money has been spent on things like her very important and urgent medical care. So we definitely need to do more for her as a community if we can. And I think we can. So, and I think we will. Extremely important.
She had the goal originally was 25, and we hit the 25, but then the ongoing care has gone past the time period that we thought was going to take, and so now we're trying to fire it up again to get more money for her to take care of things. So really, we're only a few thousand past the original goal of where it was. So
yeah, and worth pointing out, I think Bueller pointed this out in his post. It's really comes down to a lot of the things that she was depending on for her normal revenue streams and stuff like that, and coverage are drying up, and so it's actually going to be even more critical. And I'm telling you, you're not going to regret supporting this. It's going to be something that's going to be important for you and us as a community, and I really do hope that everybody out there takes a second, at least go check out the page and go get to know a little bit about Jen. We do want to keep Jen reading. It is very important to this community. I think that we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't. So yeah.
So I'll be doing a video on that too. So there's
awesome, man. Let me know how I can help if I can. So very cool. So definitely go check it out. Again, the link is in the chat. Definitely go check out the GoFundMe. And I think it's a great place to end the show. It's an important cause. So
it is.
Yeah,
it is. I would do the same thing for anybody else in the comic community if we had something like that come up. So
yeah, absolutely. And we'll probably be talking about it here for a couple more streams. Hopefully we'll catch a different batch of viewers at the beginning of the next stream or something like that too. So with that said, we will be signing up, but we will be coming back next week. We'll have another stream next Monday at 8 p.m. where we'll tackle all kinds of new stuff. Well, let's see what we're going to talk about. Maybe you know what we're going to talk about and you want to hit us up and let us know. That would be great too. We'd love to hear from you if you have a topic. I do have a couple things that I've been approached for recently. You might see on the stream soon. So you never know. We might be talking about you and shouting out you for giving us some inside info that helps us talk about an important topic. So
pizza smuggling.
Yeah, pizza smuggling. It's a real problem in movie theaters. This one secret will drive theater managers mad. So tune in next week for more pizza smuggling advice. Maybe this is a perfect segue to maybe we need to get Comic Trips on here as a guest star for next week so he can give us some tips. Appreciate everybody being here. Thanks for being such a lively and fun chat. We look forward to seeing you next week, not only on my channel, not only on Big B McFly, the Comic Book Guys channel, but also over on the EXP. Go check us out, subscribe to all those places, and we'll see you next week on the stream. Until then, keep reading comics every day and
share your love of comics with everyone you meet.
All right, folks. See you next week. Goodbye.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.